Chill to Explode. In this video, for those that are watching, you guys know I am checking out another one of WatchMojo, that they're gonna put some of my remakes that I freaking grew up on and liked in their freaking worst list. Watch. Let's get it.
Tell me,
Michael, what you got, yo?
What do you remember about that night?
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 worst horror movie remakes.
Yo, no.
What?
It is not bad. Come on. That's a fun freaking slasher film.
Little beggar.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am serious.
For this list, we'll be looking at
Oh
the
my
most
gosh.
wildly
Okay,
unnecessary
yes,
and
Nightmare on Elm Street,
disappointing
cool.
horror movie remakes. The list will be ranked based
Oh,
on the
Psycho's a
qualities
freaking
of both
remake?
the
I had
original
no idea.
and the remake.
Jeez.
Which of these films had you shaking your head? Let us know in the comments
Let me
below.
shake my head at you, peeps.
Number
Watch
20,
Mojo.
The Omen. The only
The
fun thing
Omen?
this remake had
Yo,
going
that
for
was
it
not
was
bad
its
either.
release date,
What the hell?
June 6th, 2006.
Excuse me.
Or 666. In fact, capitalizing on that date is probably the entire reason the remake was made.
I mean, hey, it makes
You see me
sense.
in hell.
Why
Just
not?
go on. We'll spend eternity together.
The Omen isn't embarrassingly bad or incompetently made or anything like
Yeah,
that.
keep trashing,
It's just
sure.
so lifeless and devoid of personality, especially when compared to the iconic original. And comparisons can't help but be made, as the remake does very little to differentiate itself from the 1976 classic. If you're not going to do anything new, then why remake a movie at all? Oh, right, because of 666.
Oh, really? That's why.
Want to play with you?
I see dead people.
Number 19, The Eye.
The Eye? I remember The Eye. Yeah. Had no idea it was a
In
remake.
2002, the Pang brothers delivered a successful Hong Kong Singaporean ghost film called The Eye. It performed well and spawned 2 sequels, not to mention 3 international remakes. One was in Tamil, another in Hindi, and the third and
The
final,
worst one of
and
all.
yes, the worst, was American.
Yeah,
Jessica
haha.
Alba stars as Sydney Wells, a blind woman who receives a cornea transplant and begins seeing dead people. Unfortunately, it's Alba herself who received the most criticism. Her performance was widely denounced, and she received a Razzie nomination for Worst Actress.
Oh,
Among
damn.
all the Americanized horror remakes, The Eye is certainly in the bottom tier.
How to separate out these ghost images from the real thing.
You're not listening to me. I'm not seeing ghost images.
Oh, she sees dead people.
I see.
What, dead people?
Number 18,
Yes, ha.
Friday the 13th.
Funny, right?
Outsiders come.
No, y'all did not just do that. No, y'all did not just freaking do that, yo. Every time I see him,
The
I
first
think of
Friday
Sam.
the 13th is
Oh
historic.
my gosh.
Released after
Y'all.
Halloween in the midst
Y'all.
of the slasher craze, the film was enormously successful and spawned one of the
I
most
am not
iconic
impressed with this
franchises in
freaking
movie
list. Like,
history.
screw off. Why am I watching this, yo? Like,
After
I'm
Jason
so,
fought
like,
Freddy Krueger,
not
the series
impressed.
was rebooted with a 2009 remake, and it was not received well at all. It didn't really do anything new for the
I'm,
franchise.
like, crying on
which
the
was quite the
inside.
detraction,
It is not a
considering
bad
that it was
movie.
nearly 30 years
I didn't even know
old.
it was a freaking
Everyone
remake,
had seen
anyways.
this sort of slicing and dicing before, and done better for that matter. Even the kill
Jason
scenes
was a
lacked
whole lot
certain
cooler.
flair. Like Jason himself, this remake was just a mindless and half-dead shell of a classic.
Lawrence,
No, you can't go out there.
we have to help him.
No, we
My
can't.
brain is
He's
on
using
fire
a friend
right
as
now.
bait.
Number 17, The Wolfman.
Have not seen The Wolfman, so I'm a little bit okay.
But they will blame you.
Just need to calm myself. Like, where is my freaking water? I need my water.
There are
Yo.
a ton of great Universal monster movies, and The Wolfman is undoubtedly one of them. Long regarded as a classic, the 1941 film was acclaimed for its production values and the performance of Lon Chaney Jr. as the titular creature. It also helped popularize the werewolf mythos and has been endlessly copied throughout the decades. By contrast, the 2010 remake was instantly forgotten, having bombed at the box office and received poor reviews. The CGI was abysmal, and
Not a
nothing
surprise.
about it particularly worked outside of Rick Baker's Oscar.
Yo, those wolves
makeup.
look fake as
Even
a
the
mess.
then president of Universal Studios, Ronald Mayer, called The Wolfman one of the worst movies they ever made. That stings
Damn.
worse than a werewolf bite.
Look to my eyes, Lawrence.
It's like a slap in the face.
Quite dead.
Number 16, The Amityville Horror.
I remember this
While the
movie. Oh my
supposedly
gosh,
true
hello?
story is mostly
Yes.
a load of nonsense. The
Oh my
Amityville
god, you just
Horror
keep
is a
trashing the
cult
freaking remakes that I
favorite of the
like.
titular
Like, yeah,
genre.
keep going.
Doesn't it seem kind of strange to buy this house, honey?
Well, houses don't kill people.
While not a critical darling, the movie raked in an
Yes, I remember
enormous
the
profit
OG.
and spawned a long-running franchise. It also helped popularize the Amityville story.
Like,
and
who
house
wants to live
with
in
new
there?
American
That house looked like a
consciousness.
freaking face,
In
yo.
2005, a remake was released starring
That's
a
right.
grossly miscast Ryan Reynolds as George
Damn.
Lutz. The remake certainly improves
They're like,
on
yeah,
things
Ryan
like
Reynolds, he
acting and
freaking
visual
sucks
effects,
as the
but it's
freaking
still
character,
an
like,
instantly
screw him.
forgettable experience that rips every cliche from the Ghost movie handbook. It's loud, confusing, and without an ounce of originality.
It's like, do it.
Number 15, The Texas
Oh
Chainsaw
my-
Massacre.
Oh my god.
What's your name?
Y'all need to stop. Ew.
The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was paramount in the establishment
This video
of the
can
slasher
suck
genre.
it.
Made
Like,
for
literally,
pennies back in the
jeez.
mid-70s, the movie was instantly notable for its violence, and it originated countless tropes that the slasher genre is still adhering to this day.
Them girls now, they don't want to go messing around no old house. Best you stick around here.
Without Leatherface, there would be no Jason, no Michael Myers. The remake goes for volume and graphic nastiness
Y'all.
over the subtle intensity
Y'all.
of the original. In the process, it loses much of the realistic griminess that made Tobe Hooper's masterpiece so notorious. It's a glossy slasher, but that is not what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is all about. Number 14, The Stepfather.
Who cares, yo? Stepfather! No, that was my movie too. Ooh, that was my movie.
Released in
I didn't even know it was a
1987,
freaking remake.
The Stepfather is a cult classic that's loosely based on the life
Oh
of
my gosh,
killer John
WatchMojo,
List.
you're freaking
Terry
trash.
Quinn, who would later find great
But
success
I'm still
playing
watching
John
their
Locke
vids.
on
Huh.
Lost, plays the titular villain
Yo,
with great
guys,
confidence
in this
and
vid,
an eerie
can
realism
suck it.
that really gets under the skin.
Let me
Suck
ask you a
it.
question, Ray. Sure.
Oh my god, half of these movies that they showed so
Like
far,
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
freaking
the
like.
2009
So they're basically
remake,
telling
drops
me
all
that,
forms
yo,
of
chill.
subtlety to
Your
present
movie
a
taste in
by-the-numbers
remakes
slasher
is
devoid
bad.
of personality or creativity.
Screw off.
Maybe they should have stuck closer to the real story of List. Or maybe it was just missing the spark that O'Quinn provided. Either way, The Stepfather is a dud. Number 13, Day of the Dead.
I wish you were around.
Day of the
more.
Dead. I also like Day of the Dead. Is that with what freaking Nick
she have
Cannon?
a boyfriend?
Yes, I think so.
She's hot, huh?
Yo, oh my gosh,
she's
like
so
you guys are just
Released in July of
just
1985,
making
Day of the
me
Dead
feel
was considered
bad.
the weakest of George
Not
A.
really.
Romero's Dead trilogy. However, its reputation has slowly improved over the years, with many praising the
You know, I
movie's
like these
interesting
trash
themes,
remakes
apocalyptic
that
tone,
they're
and
saying.
stellar visual effects.
Forget it, Billy boy. It's a dead piece. Like all the others, you know. Listen.
But even the movie's harshest critics admit that it's miles better than whatever the 2008 version is. This is a remake in the loosest sense of the term imaginable, sharing very little in common with Romero's original.
That's
It's
what I'm
also
saying.
a startlingly
Fun. All of these
bad
remakes
film
are just
with
fun.
regrettable-looking zombies, poor acting,
Does
flat
it have to be like a
direction, and
direct
formulaic
copy
script
of
with
the
nothing
OG, yo?
unique to show for it.
Here, just write her name on the list and we'll get to her. I can't wait.
Listen, lady, half the town's sick. We're overwhelmed and understaffed. Just write her name down on the list.
Number 12, Firestarter.
Okay,
Stephen
yeah,
King has always
Firestarter
been
is
popular,
absolute
but he got
trash.
really
Okay, I have to
hot
agree
in
with
the
you on
late
that,
2010s,
WatchMojo.
thanks to many notable adaptations of some of his most famous works.
It'll be quick. And he'll be looking into her face at the time. You will know her power.
The trend looked to continue with Firestarter, but this
They had
fire was
Zac Efron play the
extinguished
freaking
upon
dad, like,
arrival.
stop.
The 1984 original isn't a classic
Baby
by
Drew.
any means, but it's saved by some
Now, that
very
right there
interesting
shouldn't have been a
special
freaking
effects
remake.
and the performances of both Drew Barrymore and George C. Scott.
Like, that freaking
The
new
2022
Firestarter,
remake floundered
absolute
without these
trash.
stars
Like,
or the
screw off,
original's
yo.
unique creativity. There's just nothing to like.
I had to, like,
here.
bleach my
Even
eyes
star
out, 'cause I
Zac
was like, what the
Efron
hell is
seems
this?
like he's already over it.
You're strong, Charlie, so you don't have to be afraid.
Oh gosh, whatever.
Number 11, Black Christmas.
Yes,
You know,
that was my
Texas lives
freaking
twice.
mess, yo. I used to watch the
know you're
heck
very,
out of that
very
movie
naughty.
too. The original Black Christmas is up
What about
there
the
with
2019
Texas
version? Because
Chainsaw
that was
Massacre
really trash.
in terms of influential slashers. Released on the very same
Okay, so
day,
that's the
Black
OG.
Christmas adapted a famous urban legend
Cool.
and established countless slasher tropes in the process.
I'm going to kill you.
Come up with a better threat, man. How about that?
Many film historians now regard it as an enormously important slasher that created, or at least greatly popularized, the subgenre. The 2006 remake is a glossy production that neuters the sleazy edge of the original. It's also far louder and more visceral, perhaps hoping that the relentlessly graphic
Fun
violence will
friggin'
serve
times.
as a suitable replacement for tension. It doesn't. It's also far too
Yeah,
concerned with
some
its
is
own
corny,
mythos.
but it was freaking
Some
fun
things
to
are better
watch.
left unexplored.
See, that's the key.
Whatever, Mojo.
You just want to
Whatever.
feel at home. Especially on Christmas.
Number 10, House of Wax.
House of Wax.
This movie has a
yes.
few good things going for it.
Nostalgia.
The cast isn't half bad, and it's filmed with famous actors including Alicia Cuthbert, Chad Michael Murray, and Jared Padalecki. And even though
Before
Paris Hilton won the
Supernatural,
Razzie
yes.
for Worst Supporting Actress, her performance isn't as bad as its reputation suggests.
Please, I'm sure all the guys was watching it because of Paris. They're like, ooh, Paris is on there? Yes, let me go grab my tickets and watch.
It's just an internship at InStyle magazine. Or would you rather stay at the Waffle House as a waitress forever?
The movie also has some inventive scenes and a
Totally not creepy.
mid-2000s alt metal soundtrack, but it falters when compared
that's the
to
friggin' OG.
1953
Gotcha.
classic. That oldie but goodie is historic for being the first colour film to be presented in 3D. It's also a great movie in its own right, complete
I mean,
with
it's
a
totally
gleefully
different
horrifying
than the
atmosphere
friggin' remake.
and a typically wonderful
what the
Vincent
hell? Oh,
Price.
gosh.
The remake just doesn't hold a wax candle to it.
I just don't understand how it can seem so real.
That's the finest compliment I've ever received.
Who we got
Thank you,
next?
my dear.
Number 9.
Prom Night. Seen
Some
that
people
one.
may not even be aware that Prom Night was remade, so insignificant was its impact and reception. The original slasher became a cult classic after its release in
with Jamie Lee
1980,
Curtis, huh?
noted for the performance of Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis
Get it.
and its disco soundtrack.
My mom had
Seem
the
a little anxious,
VHS.
Wendy. By the way, who are you going with tonight?
It's not who you go with, honey. It's who takes you home.
The remake has a fun enough cast, featuring the likes of Brittany Snow
How did
and
I not
Idris
freaking
Elba.
know that this was a
But even
friggin'
their
remake?
talents can't save the
Okay.
hackneyed filmmaking. This is a flavourless slasher filmed with painfully predictable story beats, a horrible script, and worst of all, really lame killing sequences. At least get that part right.
If you were any dumber, I'd have to warn.
Darn.
Number 8, When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah, that was my freaking movie.
Traced the call. It's coming from inside the house.
You hear me? It's coming from inside the house. And she drops
The
the phone. Yo, that was
1979 original
nostalgia.
is mainly remembered for one thing, that killer opening sequence.
Yeah, I tried to
Unsettling
watch the
intended.
OG. I was
The setup being based on the
impressed.
same
I'm like, what
urban
the hell
legend
is
that
this?
inspired Black Christmas, babysitter Jill Johnson gets a threatening phone call from someone already inside the house. It's a staggering sequence that Wes Craven
Figured.
famously borrowed for the opening of Scream. The tepid 2006 remake stretches the famous opening of the original over 87 painfully long minutes and
Don't
suffers
care.
horrible pacing issues in the
Fun
process.
times,
It's like
okay?
stretching a
Nostalgia
perfectly
alert
told
over
short
here.
Story into a bloated novel filled with unnecessary detail. It just doesn't work. You can only get so much mileage out of the concept.
Please, I mean, there has to be a reason why you keep on calling me.
I would have just hung
Number
up.
7,
I'm like, you know
Halloween
what?
2.
Your loud breathing can go
first
freaking
say-
suck it. Screw you.
I say
And then
both.
just beep, hung up.
I'd say that there's nothing obvious about anything that happened here tonight.
The
Yeah,
first Halloween
2
remake from
was
Rob Zombie
kinda
was bad
trash.
enough. But this retooling of the second film in the franchise ramps everything up to ludicrous levels. Props must be given to Zombie's ambition, particularly when it comes to the characterizations.
Now, you've been criticized, and in some circles, I gotta say, outright accused
Okay,
of
he's in that?
profiteering off the misery
Okay.
of others. I mean, How do you even respond to that criticism?
He wanted to humanize the characters and explore their psyches, but the script wasn't smart enough to do it properly. He wanted to do what the eventual 2018 reboot/sequel/whatever actually did. Instead, the film mostly consists of boring yapping and sequences of incredibly grotesque violence that churned the stomachs of even the most hardcore slasher aficionados. Zombie knows how to film
Michael
a
Myers,
gnarly kill,
he'd just be
but the
walking
movie
but
as a
still
whole
catch his
isn't
victims.
nearly
Like,
as
come on
sharp
now.
as Michael's knife. Number 6, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmares?
Yeah, totally not a surprise. Yeah. I thought it was okay.
Enough good things can't be said about Wes Craven's iconic original. It's undeniably one of the greatest horror films ever made, and in 2021, it was inducted into the National Film Registry. That alone says enough about its place in movie history.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
It's a film that did not need
Freddy
to be
would have gotten me,
remade, let alone
because this
remade
chick right here
so soullessly.
needs her beauty
The
sleep.
2010 iteration is very corporate and lacks the auteur personality of the original. Filled with
The
cheap
fact they
jump
try to make
scares,
Freddy
instantly
scary in the
forgettable
remake
characters,
is hilarious.
and a lame Freddy Krueger
Like, yo,
with a
you're not even
distracting
scary.
CG-enhanced face, this Nightmare on Elm Street is a nightmare indeed.
This whole herd. One little bit.
Number 5, The Fog.
No, it swallowed us up.
The
out here at
Fog,
station
yeah,
a
the
couple
Fog was
minutes
pretty
ago.
trash.
It's moving your way.
At first I liked it, but then we watching it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like
original
what?
wasn't received well upon
Huh?
release,
I like
but
that
it still
mess?
has its
Please.
fans.
And above,
What the hell?
suddenly as it had come, the fog lifted. It
So that's the
sailed back
OG.
across the ocean and never came again.
But even lower tier Carpenter is 1,000 times better than this 2005 remake. Carpenter helped produce this film alongside his creative partner Deborah Hill, but their talents and creative flair are sorely missing. This movie has no discernible reason for existing, and does absolutely nothing fun or original. Virtually
This
every
movie was
aspect of
weird.
its production falls short in some way, and despite its $18 million budget, it seems like a cheap made-for-TV movie you'd stumble across at midnight.
Yeah, this does
and
look like
then
it could be a
immediately
TV
forget about
movie.
in the morning.
So now you know.
That our forefathers murdered every man, woman, and child on the Elizabeth Day. And this town was built on nothing but lies.
And now they've come for their revenge.
Number 4, One Missed Call. The
remember
Eye
that
may be
movie.
a poor
I had no idea it was
entry
a
in the
remake. Okay,
American
cool.
horror canon, but it's a
I am
masterpiece
learning something
next
new
to
in
One
this
Missed
video,
Call.
besides it freaking ticking me off.
It was a funeral. It sucked.
This is a remake of Takashi Miike's 2003 original, which contained some fun scares and the director's signature visual style. By contrast, the 2008 remake is widely regarded as one of the worst movies ever made. It has a rare 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and is one of the worst reviewed movies of the 2000s. This is textbook so bad it's good horror, complete with
CGI.
all the shoddy filmmaking and unintentional laughs one would expect. The J-horror subgenre has seen its share of head-shaking American remakes, but this is on a whole other level of terrible.
It says it's from Shelley. I've been calling from Shelley's phone.
Yo, that
Number 3,
ringtone,
The Haunting.
And these are the demons.
Who can hold on to your soul for as long as they want.
Yondermonts directed some great movies, including Speed and Twister. So what the heck happened with The Haunting? The movie had some
Hello.
sensational material to work with. Shirley Jackson's novel is historic, and the 1963 adaptation from Robert Wise is one of the greatest haunted house movies ever created. Both the novel and the film had intelligence behind them. They're tantalizingly ambiguous and expertly crafted. This remake trades in rich characterizations, deep thematic material, and palpable tension for cheap haunted house cliches and bad CGI. The script is also a complete mess and makes little, if any, sense. Shirley Jackson is rolling in her grave.
You brought us here to scare us, is that it?
Yes.
And you're just waiting for her to have a total nervous breakdown before you said anything?
No.
What is your problem?
I gave you the clues.
Number 2, The Wicker Man.
Why didn't you tell me Rome was a part of all this? Huh?
No, they didn't.
Rituals.
If I hear Nicolas Cage say, not the bees,
I can use a little help.
I'm like, yo, this list is trash,
British
for real.
Ryan Films and director Robin Hardy
Nicolas Cage
released
acting in this
The
movie,
Wicker
though.
Man. While not enormously
Cringe.
popular, it is arguably the greatest folk horror movie ever made.
Sacrilege.
Only if the ground is consecrated to the Christian belief. Personally, I think it makes a very lovely transmutation.
It contains kooky pagan-based frights, a magnificent Christopher Lee as Lord Summerisle, an intriguing mystery, and one of the most memorable endings in movie history. The remake has Nicolas Cage hamming it up and screaming about bees. The 2006 Wicker Man was widely criticised for being unintentionally funny, and some of its most outlandish scenes have lived on through the wonderful magic of memes. Memes can be a sign of affection. They can also be a method of derision.
weird
In
movie.
this case, it's the latter.
How did it burn? How did it burn?
I don't know!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to number 1, Psycho. When it comes to the worst mistakes in movie history, making a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho has
Like,
to
I
be
seriously
up there.
had no idea
She just-
Psycho was a remake.
Goes a little mad sometimes.
Like,
We all
hello?
go a little mad sometimes.
Alfred Hitchcock's masterpiece is one of the most celebrated films of all time, and it effectively changed the horror genre forever. In 109 minutes, Hitchcock created what could be considered the
that
perfect
Norman
horror
Bates,
movie.
man.
We all go a little
Cray,
mad
cray.
sometimes.
And Gus Van Sant had the audacity to remake it. And not just to remake it, but to make virtually the exact same movie, only with significantly worse acting and filmmaking. The movie has no good reason for existing, but at
mean,
least
no one
it
can
works
beat
as
the
an
OG, got
experiment
it.
if nothing else. It proves that movies are made in the execution of ideas, not in the ideas themselves.
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't really forget to turn the sign on. It just doesn't seem like much use anymore.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out
Yo,
these
his
other
shirt
clips
looked
from
tight.
WatchMojo. And
What you got?
welcome to WatchMojo.
Oh, so that's
and
their
today
best?
We're counting down our picks for the top 20 horror movie remakes.
Night, yeah. Oh my gosh, R.I.P. man.
Good for you.
For this list, we'll be looking at the best updates.
Are you
Hollywood
freaking
has to
serious,
offer
yo?
Classic horror films. Though we'll be allowing for
What
loose
the hell?
remakes,
Did you put
we'll
that
be
the worst?
centering around
Ho-
follow-ups
what?
that are billed as
I am
remakes
done.
First.
I am done.
As such, we'll be excluding films that aren't remakes of previous adaptations, like 2017's It and 2020's The Invisible Man. So much as completely
You
new
have got to be kidding me,
adaptations of
though.
the source
Like,
material.
rigged.
What's your favorite
Rigged.
horror movie remake? Shriek about it in the comments. Number 20, Child's Play. The Chucky
That's your
franchise has
favorite
enjoyed
horror
quite
movie
a late
remake,
career
yo? Oh
resurgence,
my
and
gosh,
some direct-to-video
yo.
outings being well
Not
received in the horror
mine.
community. However, it's the modern
Like,
update
yo,
that
what the
brought
hell
horror
happened to
back
freaking
into the
Chucky?
mainstream. That's perhaps the most commendable.
Are you my best buddy?
Oh my god, no.
I guess. We know what you're thinking. Taking a children's toy possessed by a wisecracking serial killer and turning him into a technological monstrosity could have been lame.
You know,
But
look how weird he
2019's
looks.
Child's Play
Uh-uh,
actually
no.
makes it work, giving
Child's
Chucky
Play
fresh
OG.
motivations and a host of new abilities. And while no one can replace Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky, Mark Hamill is a pretty inspired choice all the
Oh,
same.
boo. I love Brad. He was meant to be freaking Chucky, though, so.
Number 19, Carrie. There have
Oh
been
my
more than one
gosh.
lackluster follow-ups to
Okay,
Brian De
yeah,
Palma's
sure.
original
Go
adaptation
ahead.
of
Since
Carrie
you want to say
from
my
The
freaking
Rage,
worst horror
Carrie
movie
2
remix
to
is the
2002
worst.
TV movie. But if there's one that comes the closest to replicating its success, it's the 2013 version.
Call that boy and tell him you're not going. You tell him you're sick. I don't want you to get hurt.
Or you could just be happy for me.
Starring Chloe Grace Moretz as the titular teenager, the remake actually sticks fairly closely to the story of the 1976
The remake is
original,
decent,
as did that
but I'm
one
like,
to Stephen
I will
King's
always
novella.
like the
That said,
OG.
advancements in special effects did allow for a more elaborate prom scene, and Carrie's subsequent downtown rampage. Oh, and they apparently swapped the hair colours of the characters Sue Snell and Chris
Yeah.
Robinson. Did we need this remake? Not particularly. But was it any updates? Definitely.
Look what you turned me into.
And that's why
Don't hurt
it's
me,
the
kid.
best for you.
I've been hurt my whole life.
Number 18, Black Christmas. It was
What?
kind of surprising to get another
Yo, this
remake
is
of
so
the
freaking
classic
stupid. Oh
70s
my
horror
gosh,
film
like
so soon after
WatchMojo,
the
your
2006
list is
version.
getting trash.
For better or worse,
It's getting
2019's
really
Black
like
Christmas
trash.
justified its early existence with
So you're
some
saying that
really
the
timely
2006
themes
is the
on
worst,
collegiate relations
but
and
2019,
agency.
oh, it's the best? Come on. Oh my gosh,
Stalwart
yo.
fans of the first two incarnations may miss the simplicity of it all, but this one does what a lot of modern slashers have by playing around with the mechanics.
Like, am
of the
I
formula
awake
in
or
an
am I
interesting
just
way.
dreaming?
Granted, it
Like, is this a
PG-13,
freaking nightmare
but
for
as
me?
evidenced by a very popular later entry on
Hey,
this list,
people have different
restrictive
tastes.
rating can actually beget
just
some
like-
really creative filmmaking, which is certainly on display here.
Oh, there you are.
Number 17, The Blob.
The Blob, okay, yes. Oh my gosh, that was so freaking disturbing, just gross.
Here's a
Like,
sci-fi
hell no.
flick that had audiences running
Yes,
from the
okay,
theater
now
all
we're
the way back
talking.
in
I like The Blob.
1958, before it was remade decades later. In The Blob, a jelly-like substance engulfs everything it encounters, gaining strength and size
gosh,
along
it's
the
such a
way,
disturbing
and leaving a
movie,
town
like,
in
oh
panic
my
as
gosh,
the
no.
residents frantically attempt to defeat its approach. While the original film had the mysterious extraterrestrial substance function as a lumbering ball of goo, this version had the creature invade the body of its victims and gave
That
it the
thing is
ability
strong.
to split
I'm like,
and attack in multiple locations
Get
at once,
away.
leaving no place safe from its grasp.
I'm surprised I didn't
Number
have
16,
nightmares.
Piranha 3D.
Okay, Piranha.
Don't let the 3D in the title fool you. This movie is more
I didn't even
than
know it was a
meets the
freaking
eye,
remake.
Literally. Similar to how the first Piranha was a light send-up of Jaws, this 2010 update throws everything in the kitchen sink at the prospect of making for a wet and wild ride, from blood, boobs, and everything in between.
This is the Lake Victoria Sheriff's Department. The sheriff has
Oh my
declared
gosh, people can be
an
such
emergency.
idiots.
Don't worry, we got Pete over here!
Make no
Trashy,
mistake,
but
Piranha
still
3D
fun.
is trashy in every way imaginable, and knows it, cherishing in the sheer frivolity of it all. It also won't be the last remake on this list from Alexandre Aja, who has definitely cemented himself as one of the most kinetic horror directors of the century so far.
CGI.
Number 15, My
Bloody Valentine is a
3D.
freaking remake?
Speaking
What?
of 3D remakes,
Damn.
this one probably shouldn't be as good as it
Isn't that with that freaking supernatural guy?
Coming out at
Yes,
the
I
end of the
remember
decade
that
that
movie.
saw nothing but horror remakes. My
Yeah,
Bloody
just sit
Valentine
there,
3D
cool.
distinguished itself by having a unique slasher villain and just being downright fun. Fair warning, it is extremely gory and not for the faint of heart, pun intended. But for those who love to revel in the bloodletting of films like these, the 3D technology will actually be to your liking.
Yes, I think I've seen this at the theaters and it was 3D and it just
Characterizations
came
are
at me.
nothing
I'm like,
new.
ooh,
The movie
cool.
is required viewing for fans of Supernatural due to the involvement of
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles.
You doing it
Yeah,
the
see? Uh-huh, I knew it.
I was doing my job. You're the suspect, not me.
Number 14, Suspiria. Now here's a remake that
Okay, I
exists
haven't even
slightly
seen that. I don't
outside
even
the
know what that
average
is.
moviegoer's purview, but is universally disturbing nonetheless. Dario Argento's original Suspiria remains a seminal horror movie during a period in which the genre changed forever. Luca Guadagnino's 2018 version may not reach the same heights, but it similarly feels quintessential as to where the genre is today. It is a thoroughly unsettling experience, with a palpable sense of dread that will give you the shivers while watching it.
What the hell?
Expertly shot and edited, the film will stay with you long after you've seen it. Oh, and if you needed another reason to admire Tilda Swinton, her unrecognizable 3-character performance here will provide it.
This is how transference happens. How delusion is made. Delusion is a lie that tells the truth.
Number 13.
What are you talking
The
about?
Crazies. Now,
Gosh,
here's a
The
remake that
Crazies,
arguably
yes.
surpasses its original. While George A. Romero's The Crazies from 1973 is
Okay.
rife with biting commentary on epidemics and government intervention, it does want for the horror movie edge he'd become known for in the zombie genre. The 2010 version provides that and then some, giving us an alternative zombie apocalypse that feels much more savage and malignant. There are plenty of effective scares, but this one's more concerned with generating tension through character investment than racking up a significant body count. It's a shame we didn't get more of these, because we'd be totally down for it.
I thought for sure there was gonna be a sequel. I'm like, ooh, is there gonna be a sequel? Because the way it freaking ended.
Nosferatu the Vampire. Going by the name Nosferatu,
Don't even know
but
that.
very much an adaptation of the Bram Stoker novel Dracula, Nosferatu the Vampire is an entirely eerie retelling of the classic tale. Directed by Werner Herzog, the film holds a natural beauty, but it's presented in the form of a chilling malevolence. Furthermore, it has what is perhaps the most underrated portrayal of Count Dracula.
Oh my gosh, what a
ever,
weirdo.
as Klaus Kinski's almost tragically alluring performance suffuses a nuanced layer into the already familiar villain.
Dying is cruelty against the unsuspecting.
Oh please, you ain't scary.
But death is not everything.
While the original Nosferatu remains a masterclass achievement for its era, Nosferatu the Vampire definitely gives it a run for its
Gosh,
money.
what a weirdo, for real. Jeez,
Fright
yo. Fright Night, yes. Yo, I liked that
One
movie.
can go about remaking a film, from complete fidelity to a looser interpretation.
Welcome to Fright Night.
But few remakes
Man,
pay
shut
proper
up.
homage while still creating an identity of its own, quite like 2011's Fright Night. Keeping the timeless tale of a
Yes.
teenager who discovers his neighbour is a vampire, Fright Night adorns itself with a plethora of modern updates that reinvigorate the story. While most of the updates concern setting and mood, undeniably the biggest plus comes from the cast.
Welcome to Fright Night. For real.
Colin Farrell oozes confidence, slipping into the role of the vampiric Jerry Dandridge, and having David Tennant play as a Vegas-styled Peter Vincent is simply inspired.
So, I'm the expert for your vampire thing, huh? They're all the rage, eh?
Paired against the gothic 1985 original, this punkish update gives us the best of both worlds. Number 10, Evil Dead.
Evil Dead?
While the first three movies in
Yeah.
the Evil Dead franchise are more
Not
or
my
less
cup of
horror
tea.
comedies, the 2013 version plants
You know, I
its
always thought
flag
Evil Dead was
firmly in the
stupid.
horror camp, and we could not be more thrilled.
You are all going to die tonight.
Don't get us wrong, we love us some wacky
Oh my
Ash
gosh.
Williams, but director Fede Alvarez realised a wholly bloody vision for the concept, and bloody it is.
Like, Evil Dead, yo! My
Emanating a
movie!
dreadful maliciousness
Like,
from the
please.
word go, the film
It's
never
aight.
gives you a moment of respite. The events ratchet up the tension with its kills throughout, up to the point that it almost becomes gorily operatic by the conclusion. Once again, this Evil Dead gave fans a delectable peek at the alternative potential of the franchise. Number 9, We Are What We Are.
Tell Daddy supper's ready.
You might be thinking to yourself that the title almost
We
sounds
Are What
like
We
a
Are? What
play
the
on
hell is that?
expression, You are what you eat. And you'd be right. Only the characters in this movie eat what they are.
Yeah, pretty
if
much.
You get our meaning. Indeed, the story follows two teenage sisters who have been raised
Eat
in
what
a
they are.
cannibalistic household and seek to escape. From there, We Are What We Are becomes a stark and
WatchMojo,
atmospheric
your
picture
list
that
is
sure to crawl
strange.
under your skin. No pun intended. Adapted from the 2010 Mexican film of the same name, this won't be the only Americanized remake on our list. Number 8, Night of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah.
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah, that one was the best.
Practically shot by
Gosh,
shot
Barbara
colour
wasn't even
remake of the
stupid in that
iconic
one, yo.
1968
But that one,
flick that gave us the
idiot.
modern-day zombie. Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead featured much of the same crew from the original, and even featured some production work by George A. Romero himself. One big difference was that this undead fest amped up the violence and gore, as opposed to the more subtle approach of the black and white film. As both a homage and strong example of horror in its own right, this 1990 remake took audiences on a bloodbath of
So
zombie
good.
carnage. with the support and encouragement of its source's creators, and left a trail of terrifying blood-splattered remains in its wake. Number 7, The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes, okay.
Wes Craven's 1977 film
We in, Papa, we in.
Left audiences just as terrified with its tale of mutant sadists
oh my gosh,
living in the
come
New
on.
Mexico desert. After being
Yo.
led into a trap by local townsfolk, a family is threatened by the gang of murderers in various examples of brutal violence, earning the film an NC-17 rating upon its initial release. Featuring massive amounts of gore along with the monstrous appearances of the mutants, this remake made us all think twice before accepting help from strangers and taking shortcuts on our next road trip.
Never trust people. Ooh,
Number 6, Dawn of the Dead.
When there is
Dawn of the Dead, yeah.
room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Zack Snyder's remake of the 1978 horror classic had a lot to live up to, but proved to be anything but lazy in its recreation of the film that helped make the zombie genre infamous. With the shopping mall setting as its link to the source film, Dawn of the Dead offered an all-new cast of zombie bait, a fresh take on the creatures, and subtle nods to its predecessor, all while creating a rich retelling of George A. Romero's original. This innovative and well-thought-out flick gave die-hard fans the scares they craved and introduced a new crop of zombie fanatics to a film they couldn't wait to sink their teeth into. Number 5, Let Me In.
You have to invite
Let Me In? Oh my gosh, that was trash. Let Me In was trash, yo.
What have I done?
I'll
This
screw you
tale
up.
of a preteen and his supernatural neighbour began production before the original film it was based on was even released. An American version of the Swedish film Let the Right One In. This remake traded its Stockholm setting for a small New Mexican town in an attempt to make the source material appeal to a wider audience. While the original still holds up, Let Me In preserved its tale of friendship, love, and violence without neglecting the horror and emotional connections between the characters that made Let the Right One In so rich and compelling. It was also widely praised by critics.
Not for me.
Yeah. A lot.
Number 4, The Ring.
The Ring? The Ring's a remake? What?
This chilling adaptation of the Japanese film of the same name
Oh my
made
gosh.
audiences everywhere want to look away from
not
their
a surprise.
television screens because of a vengeful spirits trapped on a morbid videotape that promises death within 1 week to all who view it. While many were skeptical at first, the creep factor goes up whenever one of the marked victims sees one of the videotaped images in their daily lives leading up to their demise. The Ring proved that horror can translate beyond cultures, languages, and different sets of media, and that no one is safe from the grasp of death, making Western
So freaking
moviegoers
sick.
everywhere tremble in their seats. Number 3, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Ah, yes.
Help! Help! They're coming! They're coming! Listen to me!
This remake of the 1956 sci-fi flick of the same name took paranoia to a whole new level.
And they
An
made another one
extraterrestrial
with, I
race
think,
attempts to
Nicole
conquer
Kidman.
Earth by cloning residents in a San Francisco neighborhood, turning them into emotionless replicas of their hosts.
So
When
gross.
some of the doomed Earthlings catch on to their plot, it's a battle of wits and minds as they attempt to not only discover who has already been replaced, but how to stop the impending invasion.
We came here from a dying world. We drift through the universe from planet to planet.
No, I cannot imagine being in that situation. Like, hell no. Deuces.
We survive. The function of life is survival.
While going deeper into themes explored in the original film and offering haunting special effects,
gosh,
this
what the
apocalyptic
freak?
horror remains a potent example of a remake done
Yo, that ending screwed me up. Like, yo, you shut up.
Number 2.
The Fly, oh my gosh,
Director
such a
David
gross movie as
Cronenberg
well.
is famous for his gory body horror special effects, and this film is
Oh,
no exception.
jeez,
On the verge of creating a successful teleport device, scientist Seth Brundle experiments with transporting himself.
That movie...
However, a fly has come along for the ride. This results in him not only combining his
Jeez.
DNA with the fly, but also to suffer a slow descent into madness as his body begins to change form into a grotesque and monstrous creature.
Saying I'm an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it. But now the dream is over. And the insect is away.
Nice work.
The slow and heartbreaking deterioration of both mind and flesh make this Jekyll and Hyde type tale a terrifying horror remake you don't want to miss. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions.
Yes, give it to me.
Elijah Wood is
Maniac? That's one of your best horror movie remakes?
You're so beautiful.
What a freaking weirdo.
Very unlike the Vincent Price version.
Yo, what? Blows. Yo, Didn't they just say it's one of their worst? Like, what the hell?
The remake of his own film is shrewd and shocking.
Why don't you just kill us?
You shouldn't forget the importance of entertainment.
Halloween. If nothing else,
Halloween.
the franchise
Oh
is
my gosh, yo.
Number 1, The Thing.
The Thing? A remake, okay.
Horror sci-fi film The Thing from Another World follows
Oh.
even more closely the John W. Campbell Jr. novella Who Goes There, upon which they were both based. It tells the story of a group of scientists in Antarctica.
Yeah, I know.
It is a shape-shifting alien that can assume the identity of anyone it encounters.
Yeah, cover your mouth.
With chilling suspense and horrific special effects, The Thing consistently leaves you on the edge of your seat, wondering which character to trust and who will reveal themselves.
That thing
as
is
the
disturbing.
villains. Injected with just enough jump scares and mystery to keep you both watching and squirming, John Carpenter's take also outshines the campy special effects of the original.
Oh my gosh, like gross.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo.
Some of these movies that they freaking showed that are remakes didn't even need to be on this freaking list. Because some of them were actually pretty good and decent to the point that I'm just like, yo, are you kidding me, WatchMojo? Like, you're saying that that's the worst remake? Your list is the freaking worst. Boom. But everyone has their own freaking opinion. Anyways, guys, that was it for this freaking video. Chill to Explode. This chick is out. Peace.